Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my initial comparison of the Nike PG5 and the Nike PG6. As far as the price goes, they did increase the price from the PG5 to the PG6 by $10. Not a huge deal, but that does suck. I mean, they've kept the PGs at 110 bucks from the PG1, so I guess that's good. But anyways, if you guys do want to cop, the PG5 of course is on sale, so links are below. The PG6 is not available yet on Nike.com in the US, but it is available on like StockX or GOAT, so I'll try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the Tracciones, and the PG5 had solid traction. Of course, the pattern is pretty much identical to the Kobe 9 traction. Of course, unfortunately, it wasn't as good as the Kobe 9, but still, like I said, the PG5 had solid traction, although the durability of the PG5 was terrible. Look at that. Look at that. It's pretty much fully gone. And that was just from using it outdoors, right? So there's the PG5. As far as the PG6 goes, the pattern is very different. Of course, it is using full-length React. So as far as the outsole pattern goes for the PG6, they're using that kind of like React pattern that they use here in the outsole. And as far as the bite goes, it seems very, very good on the PG6, you know, just on my wood floors. And I was comparing the bite, and the PG6 seems to bite a little bit harder, you know, so I'm very excited about that. Of course, I didn't play in the PG6 yet. And for durability, I don't think the PG6 is going to be durable, you know, just feeling it with my fingers. The grooves are very easily moved and feels very pliable, although it did come with like an XDR rubber tag. But I feel like it'll be a little bit better than the PG5, and the PG5 was one of the worst shoes I've ever played with as far as durability goes. Like it just ran through it. the outdoor court ran through this outsole, so it can't be as bad as the PG5, right? Of course, that's just speculation, but anyways, PG6 I have high hopes for. You know, it feels really, really nice so far, and I'm very excited about it. All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition. I mean, the PG5, very, very nice. Curved shape, fully exposed midsole. There's a good amount of compression here, so that felt nice. And then here in the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape and a lot of forefoot flex. So super smooth here in the PG5. The PG6, it feels very smooth as well. So here in the heel, we have a nice curved shape. Pretty much fully exposed midsole here in the back of the heel. And then here in the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape and a lot of forefoot flex as well. So heel to toe transition feels very nice here in the PG6. Moving on to the cushioning setup. So that's where it gets a little bit different, right? So the PG5 is using a full length air dot weld Strobel board. And it doesn't feel as nice as the original like air Strobel units, you know what I mean? Like in the Zion 1 or even in the PG4. Those, it feels a little bit softer there, and there's a little bit more compression in those. The PG5, it feels like there's not as much like air pressure in it, so it feels maybe a little bit more responsive, right? You still get a little bit of compression, and I guess it does improve the step and comfort a little bit as well. So overall step and comfort, the PG5 is a little bit more comfortable. The PG6, of course, uses full-length React, right? And as far as the compression goes, I was pretty surprised. In trying to feel the cushion, I would actually say it's pretty similar. The PG6 has a little bit more compression in the heel, of course, because of the React. But of course, because it is React, you get a nice spring back and bounce back, as opposed to the PG5 here in the heel, which it feels a little bit more just soft and dead. It doesn't have that spring back sensation. So the PG6 definitely does feel nicer in the heel, in my opinion. As far as the overall court feel goes, right now, the PG5 feels better. You know, it feels lower to the ground, and this entire line, the PG1 through the PG6, the PG5 has the best court feel. So, I mean, the PG6, I would say, still has good court feel. It's very comparable to the PG4. It's just, you know, when I had both of these shoes on, the PG5 just felt lower to the ground. So there's that. So overall, I mean, right now, I don't really know which one I like more. I like both of the cushioning setups so far. Of course, I need to play in the PG6 more, and also play with both of these at the same time just to get a better feel for the cushioning setup. But right now, they both feel very nice, and they just have different positives to the cushioning setup. Alright, moving on to the material. So the PG6 is definitely the winner here. I mean, as far as the quality goes, it's so much better. It doesn't feel as nearly as flimsy as a PG5. Like, just look at that. You know, it's just super soft, it's thin as well, conforms to your foot very well. The PG5 on the other hand, I mean, it's nice. I would even say maybe it's a little bit thinner, if I'm nitpicking, right? But then like, it's just such a crappy feeling mesh material. It just feels really cheap, right? So, I mean, I guess it is a cheaper shoe, technically, but the quality of the material feels really crappy. And of course, the synthetic leather here just feels really crappy as well. Here in the midfoot, it stays pretty damn thin in both of the shoes, like the PG6 and here in the PG5. For the tongue though, the PG5 has a little bit of padding, but for the most part, it's pretty minimal. But then for the PG6, they changed it up and gave us a lot of padding, which I really like. In my personal opinion, I would say I like this better. It doesn't feel like too thick and it doesn't feel bulky really at all. So I just like the extra coziness and comfort that you get from this thicker tongue. And of course, both of these tongues have a half booty construction tongue. And for the ankle area, here in the PG5, I guess you do have like one singular Achilles pad. But as far as the padding goes, they're both around the same, so like a little bit of padding. So yeah, I mean the PG6 definitely is a huge upgrade. The PG line has had really crappy materials, and in my opinion, I would say the PG6 has the best quality materials and also the best feeling materials on foot, just because the cozier tongue, right? So they definitely did a major upgrade from the PG5. Alright, moving on to the fit. I went true to size for both of the shoes and they both fit me very, very well. I would just say there is a little bit of a difference, right? So the PG5 feels a little bit narrower and a little bit more snug in the toe box. But the PG6 is still kind of narrow and still snug, right? So as you guys can see, the PG5 is pretty damn narrow. Look at that. It just looks a little bit narrower than the PG6 and a little bit pointier, right? So for me personally, I do like the PG5 fit overall a little bit better. That's just me nitpicking. Like I said, the PG6 still fits me pretty damn well. They're both easy to put on. I would say the PG5 is a little bit easier just because of this high. I mean, I guess as far as the length goes, they're around the same height, right? But then like the PG5 kind of like you can bend it a little bit more, bend it back a little bit more as opposed to the PG6. So yeah, that's pretty much the only difference. The PG5 is a little bit narrower and a little bit more snug, but also the PG6 for the length is a little bit longer, just a tiny bit. You know, there's a little bit of length for me, but if I went down half a size for the PG6, I feel like it'll be a little too snug. So there is the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown. So for the PG5, you know, you're gonna be good to go. As you guys can see, the foam does come up to act as a sidewall. So lateral containment was good for me here in the PG5. I feel like it's gonna be good for me here in the PG6 as well. Like the rubber outsole does come up to cage your foot a good amount here in the forefoot, here in the midfoot, and also we have an internal TPU heel counter. But as far as the lateral stability goes, I feel like the PG5 is a little bit wider, right? So the PG5 actually has an outrigger. Right, so yeah, I would say it's around like 5 to 7 millimeters wider, and I don't know why they changed it up here in the PG6. Like the PG6 really has no outrigger. Right, look at that. It just stays like this, and then for the PG5 we have an outrigger. So the PG5 was laterally stable. PG6, of course, I've yet to test it. Just walking around and jumping around, like running around a little bit in it, I didn't feel any issues so far. So hopefully when I do play in it, I don't have any, but we have yet to see. So there's that. As far as the weight goes, the PG5 is just extremely, extremely light. So I'm guessing around like, this was like 10 point something, right? Yeah, 10.62 ounces, like super light. And then here for the PG6, we have 12.17 ounces. So it's around what, like 1.5 ounces lighter for the PG5. It does feel lighter. It feels a little bit lighter. It's not a huge difference in weight as far as like the overall feeling goes. Of course, the overall material does feel a little bit bulkier just because of the tongue, just a tiny bit. But like I said, it's a nice trade-off because you get a nice cozy feeling. And I guess you do feel a little bit higher up off the ground here in the PG6. So, I mean, if you want the overall lighter shoe and more minimal feeling shoe and I guess better court feel, then the PG5 is probably the better option. But the PG6, I mean, coming in at 12.1 ounces is still really light. So there is the weight there. Moving on to the aesthetics. Yeah, the PG5, this looks... I'm not a huge fan, right? The PG5 and the PG4 are probably like one of the worst looking shoes in his entire line, in my opinion. And the PG6, I would have to say, yes, I'm sorry, I did hate on the PG6 when it came out as far as the leaked images go, but now that I have it in hand and I've seen this colorway and some of the other colorways that are coming out, I really like it. It looks awesome. and whoever designed it, they did a great job. It just looks amazing aesthetically. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, I don't know, it's gonna be a pretty hard one. I mean, the PG5 was a solid performer, right? But the PG6, I mean, the quality is feeling a little bit better. I do like the overall tongue too. Cushioning, well, I'm actually very curious. I wonder which one I would like better, you know? Maybe, I feel like I might like the React better, just because of that extra bounce and compression, especially in the heel. But of course, the quality of the materials is just so much better here in the PG6, and it's only $10 more. Of course, like I said, I mean, the PG5 still feels great on foot, but the PG6, the quality is better and the tongue feels nice. But anyways, that about does it for my initial comparison for the PG5 and the PG6. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave an affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.